Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
Yo, what's up guys, this is As. Today I'm going to be upgrading my Gamakay K61 from these horrible blue switches to these tactile Feker Pandas. This mod's literally going to cost us only like $35. Anyways, let's actually start modding the board. First, you're going to need to gently and very calmly remove all the keycaps off the board. And once you've done that, again, very gently, do the same with your switches. Once you've got all the wonderful blue switches, put them in a Ziploc bag so you can save them away to use in a better build in the future. Now that that's out of the way, let's work on the stabs. Since you probably have eyes, you might have noticed how much these stabilizers are moving in the actual board itself. These stabs are trash and it's making more rattle because of the unnecessary movement, so I'm going to take them all out of the board. And now I'm going to use some tape and place it in the area where the stabs are placed in to create a tighter fit when I place them back in. So the movement in the stab mount and is reduced and blah blah, all of that, you get my point. But anyways, let's see how I did it. If you don't know how to, you can just use some sort of fabric tape. I'm using some medical tape I stole from the first aid kit at home. Okay, we aren't finished yet. We gotta work on the stabs and tune them now and all of that boring stuff. I got my stabs all on this green cloth so lube doesn't get anywhere else. Anyways, disassemble the stab and separate all the pieces. If you look close, they have some pre-lube already, but they're not done really that great. And there's nowhere near enough lube on the actual wire itself. So we gotta clean all of the old lube off the wire. I use a wet wipe. You can use tissue, doesn't really matter to be honest. Some of the lube got on the stab stem, so also make sure to clean that off using the wipe. If you look closely, these stabilizers have these protruding legs. You're going to cut them off. I'm using some wire cutter. Not the best thing, but it does the job. If you don't got one, you can use a nail cutter. It does a great job as well. Oh yeah, and by the way, cutting these off reduces the unnecessary contact with the PCB since they hit the PCB when you bottom out on your modifier keys. Now get your stems which you've trimmed and get some Krytox. I'm using 205 grade 0. I'd recommend you also use it and just brush the sides on all of them so it's smoother and all of that stuff. Some people only do the stems and leave it like that, but I do both the stem and the outer housing part. So also again, lube the inside of the stem housing. Don't put your brushes away just yet, we still got the wires to lube. I'm using some $3 Momoda lube from AliExpress since we're on a budget. It's more of a grease to be honest, but yeah, I'm using it for my stab. I'd recommend using 205 grade 0 or dielectric grease if you do have it on you. So dip your wires in the grease and try and brush it on the wire evenly. Don't be like me, I used a little too much, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, now we can finally assemble our stabs. If you don't know which way the stem goes in the housing, the part that has two holes face the entrance for the wire, and it's that simple. And now you're finally done. Now place them back into the board and make sure to test them, and if there's any rattle once, go back and maybe add some more lube or remove some even if you have to. I think these came pretty well out for stock stabs, so have a listen. Now for the most fun you'll have during this build, lubing switches. Okay, that was a lie, but anyways, you know, the switches I'm using are these Feker Pandas, which I mentioned earlier. They're really cheap and I have a nice tactile bump. A bit too sharp for my liking, but I can fix that easily. You gotta open all of them first and separate the stem, bottom housing, top housing and the spring, just so it's easier. Please, if you don't, I 100% recommend a switch opener. It saves your fingers so much pain and it saves you so much time also. And they're very cheap. They're like $2 to $3 you can get them for if you really do look. I got all my springs and banged them in a bag and poured a few drops of Krytox 105. Since these switches have quite a bit of spring ping, it would help by oiling the springs. You probably know how to lube switches, but if you don't, get your 205 grade 0, get a thin even coat on your brush and give 3 strokes each on the bottom housing sliders and twirl the brush around the pole a little. Do that for all of the bottom housings. And for the stems, I'd recommend you get a stem picker. It made the process literally way easier and faster for me, and again, it's really cheap. Like before, even coat again on your brush, and what I do, just brush the whole stem. Mainly the sliders should be lined and the legs. Like I said before, I don't like sharp tactile bumps, so I'm lubing the legs so they're more rounded bumps. Since they're so tactile, it doesn't affect the tactility, it also makes them sound more rounded. It's all preference, so do what you think's better to you. The whole stem should be covered in a shining coat, but no white blobs of lube should be visible. I'm going to be filming these switches since they have a ton of stem marble. I got these cheap films on AliExpress again for like $3 with a coupon. You aren't seeing none of those fancy TX films used here. Make sure to place the film properly. If it's not on properly, your switches are going to sound a bit crunchy. Then place your spring back into the bottom housing, followed by the stem. Make sure the stem legs are facing the leaf of the switch, and then place our top housing on, and boom, you're done. And finally, you can place all of your 61 lubed and film switches back into your K61. Now that's left is your keycaps. And that's how it sounds. Considering how much I spent, I think it sounds really good, honestly. And there just goes to show that you don't really need to spend too much on your board for it to sound good. Let me know what you guys think about the mods, and that's it. I'm going to be doing more mods, so if you're interested, stay tuned, and thanks for watching till now. Leave a like and subscribe if you want, and yeah, bye.